Okay, we're live.
Hey guys, good evening and welcome to my exciting channel. We're discussing Mandela effects in the life. Thanks for joining me today as we uncover the mysteries of the Mandela effect itself and find out the true meaning of it all. We must discover what is really happening, what is really going on, to change these things that we know and hold dear to us. And let us help others discover the meaning of the Mandela effect, how it affects them, and the price of help. Thank you. And be sure to hit the like and subscribe down below.
Okay, hey guys, I hope everybody's doing okay this evening. Sorry we had a little bit of a late start there. We have someone else. Oh, okay, great. We have Alice that just joined us. Hey Alice, how you doing?
Hey, hi, sorry about that.
No, it's cool. These last minute things are wonderful because they get us to show us how we can contend with the current situation. So I'm really glad you could join us tonight, Alice. So tonight's show is going to be based around the Kennedy assassination, the Lincoln assassination, and the commonalities between them, or synchronicities, as this is becoming the newest and latest term nowadays when dealing with the Mandela effect. And I want to give a brief intro. As you guys know, Gen X was with us on the part 1.
Sorry.
And I welcome him back. Welcome back, Gen X.
Hey, thanks, Brian.
Hey, good to have you, man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, you're welcome. We also have Melissa. She's going to be talking with us a little bit and leading us with a prayer.
Oh, hi.
Hey, Melissa. Thank you for coming on at the last minute. I really appreciate you. Thank you. And we have my dad, who is going to be talking about and give him a nice warm welcome as well, because he was around during the Kennedy assassination. He can tell us a lot of information, and hopefully sort of like unravel the mysteries surrounding it and some of the presidents and things like that, because that's his area. I do want to go ahead and lead in with some prayer. So Melissa, would you mind go ahead and lead the prayer tonight?
Sure. Father in heaven, we just come before you and we ask you to help lead this chat and let your truth come through, and let your Holy Spirit anoint us to speak the truth and guide us, Lord, and just protect us from evil, protect us from the trolls, protect us from Satan. In Jesus Christ's name, I pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Melissa, so much for sharing that. We also have Teresa Lynch, who is back with us. She's my co-host for tonight.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Teresa.
Hello.
We're glad to have you. I'm going to be checking if I'm bouncing back and forth. I'm checking chats, and I'm also checking Teresa's. She's going to be sharing some residues with me as we go on concerning Kennedy and Lincoln. So with tonight's discussion, I'm gonna let my dad do a little bit of talking, and then we'll see if anyone else has anything to add to that. That would be great. Dad, tell us about that book we received in the mail today.
First of all, I want to say hello to everybody, and also a special shout out to my wife, Anita. Are you listening to the show? Okay, before I start, I want to reflect quickly where I was back in November of '63, 22nd. I had to be in the gymnasium. I was in the 8th grade. Then they came out with a bulletin over the air that the President of the United States and the governor were shot. And the first thing that came to my mind was, oh my God, they're taking over the country. That was the first reaction. A lot of people were shocked and everything. So it turned out Kennedy would die. And it just happened so fast. And 4 days were the saddest 4 days I've ever witnessed in my adult life. So I guess you want me to talk about the similarities about the Kennedy and Lincoln assassination?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
Dad.
right.
Let's. You did some research into that, and so tell us what you found.
Okay. Okay. Here we go. Of course, both Kennedy and Lincoln were shot in the head. They both died on a Friday. Now, Lincoln died on Good Friday in 1865. Kennedy died on Friday, November 22nd. Now, there was a general that was sitting next to Lincoln at the Ford Theater where Lincoln was shot. He got stabbed by John Wilkes Booth. Now, John Connolly of Texas was wounded by Lee Harvey Oswald. He lived. It was in the car with Kennedy. Here's a couple other similarities. Both the first ladies were with their husband when they were shot. Was Mary Todd Lincoln was with Lincoln, and Jacqueline Kennedy was with JFK when he was shot. Lincoln's vice president would become Andrew Johnson. Andrew Johnson. He became president when Lincoln was assassinated. Well, JFK's vice president, who would become president, was Lyndon Baines Johnson. Both the assassins, Oswald and both were shot and killed. Okay, John Wilkes Booth, turns out, was a Confederate sympathizer. Lee Harvey Oswald was a Marxist sympathizer. Here's one here, right here. Lincoln's personal secretary, last name was Lincoln. JFK's secretary, last name was, Lincoln's was Kennedy. JFK's secretary last name was Lincoln. Her first name was Evelyn Lincoln. And she broke the bad news to the children, Carolina, and they were young at the time. Now, conspiracy-wise, there was a plot not only to kill Lincoln, but to kill the cabinet. And also, there was a plot to kill General Grant, but General Grant did not show up at Ford Theater that night with his wife. And it turns out there was another general named Rathbone, and he got stabbed in the arm by Booth. Now, as far as the JFK conspiracy theories, it's still going on. Who killed him? It could have been the CIA. It could have been the mob. It could have been LBJ, because LBJ, rumors were going around, he did not get along with Kennedy. It is believed that Kennedy was going to remove LBJ from the ticket for 1964. So that was a rumor going on. Jack Ruby, who shot Oswald, they had a thing on Mystery Channel, was supposedly paid by the mob to kill Oswald, and if he didn't go through, he would have been in danger of his life. So these are the similarities we were coming up with. Now, one thing I wanted to bring up was my son Brian got a book today from Amazon. It turned out it's a library book. And the book is called 4 Days. And I'm hearing all these things about the presidential limousine. Saying there were 4 people in the car. Well, I come across page 13 of the book, 4 Days, which is about the assassination. As I'm looking at the picture, I see Kennedy and his wife in the back seat. And I'm showing Governor Conley and his wife sitting in front of them. And they were sitting on these seats that had no backing. I don't know, they call them jump seats. So, and again, from when I look at this picture, who was driving the car? It was probably the civil service agent and the passenger. So, as I said, a lot of things are going on. Like I said, I'd say a year after the assassination, there were rumors going around about conspiracies, and there was an attorney from New Orleans named Jim Garrison, and he carried out this investigation. He claims that there were other people involved with the assassination, and also most of the people that were involved supposedly either died mysteriously or from suicide. So this is what I've come up with right now. If anybody has a comment, I'd like to hear from you.
Do you know what page that image was on in that book?
Page 13.
Page 13.
It's called 4 Days. I think you can probably find it in the library. This is a book that Brian got. Now,
I'm trying to
my
see if I
father
can.
bought this book years ago. It was a black cover. This is in a red cover. It's called 4 Days. It's about the 4 days assassination to his burial.
Go
on
ahead,
page
Alice.
13.
I'm
sorry?
I was
Go ahead,
just trying
Alice.
to see if I could find the image online, maybe, and I could share it.
Yeah, that'd be fine. That'd be fine. If nothing else, Dad, I'll walk over to you and I'll get the book from you and I'll share it with everyone.
Okay, that'd be fine. Yeah. Okay. While he's getting the book, I want to share with you too. There's a Life magazine came out a month later about the assassination, and it's the first time that they showed the Zapruder film. So that's the Life magazine. I believe it was probably the following year or months later after the assassination. That magazine could probably be found in the archives of the library, or it could be bought through Amazon, which Brian belongs to. As far as the Zapruder film is concerned, it is believed that the film was confiscated by the Secret Service. Film might have been doctored. We don't know. And I don't recall seeing, I saw the Zapruder film for the first time, seeing the head of Kennedy exploding. I just saw he got hit by the shot and he slumped down in the seat. But when I saw the YouTube videos, how graphic it was terrible. Yeah, Brian's showing the picture right now. Again, look at the picture.
Let me.
Go ahead,
Hey, Brian, can you screen share that?
Yeah, it's actually here. It is right here. You guys see that?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That's not. Well, who is that, Dad? Tell us who those people are.
What in
Who's
the
who
world?
is that? Connolly?
Go to Connolly and his wife are seated in front of the Kennedys. Now, if you look at the limousine, there's people surrounding the limousine. They must be Secret Service agents. And what happened was the
Brian,
Kennedys arrived in Dallas that day.
Are you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Gen X. Can you guys see that?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Tom. I was just trying to see the picture.
Okay, let me share it one more time because I know it's delayed. There may be a slight delay, but are you guys able to see that just fine?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Brian. I saw it.
Oh, you're welcome. Very next page, you see the sniper's scope, and there's actually 4 people. It's strange. Look at this.
No, Brian, that's
What in the world?
Yeah, Dad.
Brian, that picture, if you look at it, is probably a demo of the shooting. It was done by the Warren Commission.
Well,
that came out months after.
But I mean,
yeah. And if you look at the picture, you see the back, and if you see there's a guy on the right-hand corner on the back seat, or he's sitting in the jump seat. I understand that limousine is in a museum shown as a 4-seater.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what? So Governor Connolly's wife drove the limousine that day?
No, she was sitting with the governor.
No, I know. If it was a 4-seater, though,
they were believed. Yeah.
That's what we would be led to believe, that his wife drove the limousine.
Wow,
if that's the case.
Amazing. Residue.
I don't know. I don't know if it's true or not. But if you look at the Zapruder film, yeah, I know.
I mean, I studied.
Look at the Zapruder film.
I've studied the Kennedy assassination
What in the world?
So
Well, when they change history, when they go back and change history like that, which I know there's a guy that goes to our church who went to dinner with us, and I tried to explain to him about the Mandela effect and how now people believe that there were 4 people, now there's 6, and he tried to pass it off as, oh, someone's lying to you. There were 4 people, and this man He studied the Kennedy assassination. He knew it like the back of his hand, and he swears up and down. He says, man, you need to listen to the radio broadcast at that particular time. There were 4 people in the car. Dad, who was that radio guy that everybody heard that day, the 4 days? Who was it?
There was a, yeah, I heard that recording where it sounded like this. It sounded like there seemed to be something going on in the limousine, Bruce. There seemed to be something going on. I heard that recording. Something is going on in the limousine. The next thing you know, the limousine took off for Parkland Hospital. Now, yeah, as I looked at the fatal wound of Kennedy, it looks like he got shot on the side. Now, that shot, supposedly the fatal shot where you see Kennedy's head almost explode off his head. Now, here's another thing, too. They show, I don't know if you saw it, but they show where Jackie's trying to reach up and try to get one of the Secret Service to help her. It turns out that she had pieces of Kennedy's brain in her hand.
Purse. Yeah.
Yeah.
She handed them to the doctor. She handed them to the surgeon at the hospital and said, "Do you think these will help?"
Yeah.
Wow, I'm really surprised. If you watch the video, it looks like she doesn't, like, she's not even like screaming or anything. I would have been terrified if I saw my.
Yeah, it's also rumors go around that she fired this shot. I mean, I'm just saying, like, if you look at the pictures.
Well, and you know, you got to take into account too. You know, she's not.
How is it possible Oswald go off those shots? That's what I'm concerned about. How did he get off all those shots?
Oh, he didn't. There's no way.
Kill Kennedy.
There's no way.
No.
Not with that gun.
Somebody from the.
Not that guy. Not with that gun.
Dad, tell him who was head of the CIA at the time that ordered them to stand down. Who was head of the CIA? Let's talk about that.
Okay, George Bush, George Sr.
Which George Bush?
Daddy.
The daddy, right?
Kennedy. Also, too, what was going on before the assassination? Looks like the mob may have been involved because when Robert Kennedy was Attorney General of the United States, he was investigating the mob. He was also going after Jimmy Hoffa. So that's possibly they're getting back at JFK. They're getting back at Robert Kennedy. We're going to kill your brother. That's just a theory. I don't know.
But by the way, for all of you out there who would like to see this book, if you want to go out and get it, that's fine. I will be posting a digital copy on our share drive. Okay, so everyone can see this book. I think it's really awesome. Everyone should own it. Who is Mandela affected?
Yeah.
Wow. Is this proof, Brian? Is this like absolute proof? Or residue?
It could be. I still have to go back through and read this. I just got it in the mail today, and I've been sort of looking it over. I have to go back through and see if there's more residue. I shared with you, like, that was on page 15, how there were 4 people in that shot.
Right.
That was amazing.
That's
that could be residue.
That's absolute residue, man, in my opinion.
Hey, Dad.
Yes.
Tell us about when dealing more with the synchronicities. Why? First of all, why do you think there are synchronicities between the 2 presidents? And tell us about some assassinations and other presidents that we've had.
Oh yes. Okay, I can go over that right now. Okay, let me go with that. Okay, we all know about the Lincoln assassination. Okay, 20 years later. Yeah, 23rd. That's exciting. Okay. In 1881, James Garfield was shot in the back. The office seeker at a railroad station in Washington, D.C. President Garfield had lived for a couple of months, and it turns out I found out through YouTube history that Garfield's chief physician did nothing for Garfield. And also, too, because they couldn't find the bullet. It was lodged deep in his back. So they called in Alexander Graham Bell, who invented the telephone, and he brought in this metal detector machine. He couldn't find the bullet. So it turns out Garfield died later. Now, another president that was assassinated was William McKinley in 1901. And it turns out McKinley was at an exposition, a fair, and he was shaking hands with a bunch of people. And this one guy turned out to be an anarchist, walked up to him, shook his hand, one hand, and in the other hand, he had a pistol covered up with a napkin and shot him in the stomach. And President McKinley died, and Roosevelt became president. The Kennedy assassination. And of course, there was an attempted assassination on Reagan.
Yeah, here.
And he lived.
Dad, Dad, wait, hold on, Teresa, hold on, real quick. Are you guys familiar with Robert?
I just found a video about that book.
Okay.
Right now.
Okay, that's fine. I'll check it out in a second.
I'm going to send it to you. I just found it. It's showing the 4 days.
Thank you, Teresa.
I'll send it to you right now. I just found it.
Okay.
The cover here.
Okay.
And it's all about exactly what you're talking about here.
Yeah, 4 days.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, here's the thing. Even his son, who was it, Robert Kennedy?
Robert Kennedy Jr.
Yes.
His death is mysterious.
Yes. And didn't he own?
He had political ambitions just like his dad.
He owned, and he owned a magazine company or something like that. He was trying to subliminally tell people that his father was killed off. There was something, and he was mysteriously killed. It seems like heads roll every time.
Yeah.
Every time stuff tries to come out about the truth, heads roll. So if I die, guys, it's not by a suicide. Okay, just letting you know that.
Copy that, Brian.
Okay.
You gotta remember one. Go ahead.
You guys all know about Linkin Park. The lead singer passed away the other day. He did not die of a suicide. He died because he knew too much. His own dad was John Podesta, and I believe he was going to come out about what's been going on with Pizzagate. That's what I believe.
Brian, you just showed a picture of Jack Ruby who shot Oswald. Well, it turns out you actually don't see Oswald's face when he shot when Ruby shot Oswald. It's possibly somebody else did it.
Really?
Yeah, and also too, he never went to trial, Jack Ruby. Turns out Jack Ruby died of lung cancer in jail, so he never faced trial. So we don't know what happened.
Now, who is this person here? Who is this little guy or little person right here?
That is John Jr., who became, who it turned out that he turned out to be a handsome devil. I'll tell you something. Better look than his dad was.
He died in a plane crash, right?
He was in that plane with his wife. By the way, was pregnant. Was pregnant in that plane.
It was a very mysterious plane crash.
I'm gonna go check out that video that Lisa just sent you guys. Hey, Dad, I'm gonna. The book.
Just play it. You'll see it.
Okay, I'll be right back. Let me hand this back to my dad in case he has any other material he wants to cover.
It's okay. You keep it. You can leave it there.
Okay, cool. Right. But yeah, there will be a digital copy available for you to download.
Okay, you were talking about John Podesta. John Podesta?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, Dad, you there? John Podesta?
Yes, you were talking about John Podesta. I found out some information. Election night, when it looked like Trump had won the election, who came out to speak to his supporters? It was John Podesta, not Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton, who, what's the name? What's the word? Succeeded. And she was so upset over the election and blamed John Podesta on losing the election. Through things that she went on ballistic that night, started crying, and a couple of people had to restrain her from beating up John Podesta. This was a known fact.
No crap.
She went ballistic. Yes, she would have killed the guy.
That's funny, man.
Also involved in with Pizzagate too. By the way, talk about Pizzagate. Yeah. A lot of stuff going on.
Somebody mentioned it was Michelle. She said Bobby Persing. Do you guys know Bobby Persing?
No.
Ever named Michelle?
No, who's that?
From SI. I'm not sure. I was just a question. If anybody knew that. I'm looking at Teresa's material now. So yeah, I'm just trying to understand. Okay, why these two presidents? Why Lincoln? Why Kennedy? Why are they connected so much?
Like I said, there's a lot of similarities. That's I find interesting. There's the similarities. Now the thing is, okay, the aftermath of the after the Civil War, of course, Lincoln would have probably went for a second term. And what happened after the Civil War? The South was still bitter. There was Reconstruction going on. And of course, you had the KKK, uprising of the KKK in the South. And there's a lot of things going on. So the South really never got over the war. It turns out John Wilkes Booth was a sympathetic to the Confederate cause. Not only was an actor, like I said, he was a Confederate sympathizer. And he, of course, shot Lincoln and stabbed this other general who was there. And there were plots to kill the cabinet. And as far as Kennedy is concerned, now, when it comes to Jack Ruby made a statement after he supposedly shot Oswald. He said, I did this because I didn't want Jacqueline Kennedy to suffer through a trial. This was his words after he was arrested. Now, the truth, the History Channel had to think about Jack Ruby. He was paid by the mafia to kill Oswald, to shut him up. And if Ruby didn't follow through, he would have been a dead man. Because don't forget, when Jack Ruby was also dealing with the mob, he was also a strip club owner. So he was a bad man. So he was dealing with the mob too.
Well, what is that saying? The famous saying, "Don't mess with the bull, or you'll get the horns." Right. So.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I think there was more than Oswald involved. I believe it was the work of the mob, the CIA, global elitists who didn't like. There were people who did not like Kennedy that were involved. So I think there was a lot of people involved. And I'm going to say, I believe LBJ was involved too, because he did not like Kennedy at all. It turns out in 1960 convention, of course, LBJ was running for president too, and to shut up LBJ, they pushed him to be Kennedy's running mate, just to get the vote for in Texas. And of course, Kennedy went to Texas to shore up the vote for 1964, and the rumors going around that he was going to drop LBJ from the ticket, and LBJ was an SOB. An SOB. I'm talking about when he was a senator, he was an SOB in the Senate too. He was an opportunist, and he was a bad man.
Have any of you heard of the theory of Kennedy being killed because he was going to end the Federal Reserve?
Yes, that's exactly.
That one.
He was going to sign an executive order that would have ended the Fed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also heard that Kennedy was for a joint Soviet-United States space mission. And that ticked off a lot of conservatives, because don't forget, we're in the midst of a Cold War. We almost had a missile crisis. And if you would talk about Kennedy's legacy, a lot of people thought he was overrated. Of course, he had that, they call it Camelot thing going on in the White House. And what happened to Kennedy was he got caught up in the Cold War with all the stuff going on. And he was inexperienced, and he had to deal with Khrushchev. And he was a bad man, too. We almost had a worldwide nuclear war on our hands.
Yeah, that's wow.
Well, I think that there's a lot in there with him getting ready to sign that EO to kill the Fed, because the elite run this country, and that would have taken.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that would have taken all of their power. They would have, I mean, we wouldn't be the same country we are now had that have happened.
Well, who do you think was in charge of the Warren Commission?
The Rothschilds, the Rockefeller. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for sharing
and guess who was member of the Warren Commission? Gerald Ford.
Yep.
Gerald Ford.
Residue, you know.
Sorry?
I'm right here.
Yeah, do you guys see that residue I'm sharing that Teresa found?
I see it right here. I'm looking at the picture right now.
Wow.
Right, that's some serious residue.
Yeah, why would they share? And it even has the presidential seal right here at the bottom left. I mean,
right. Wow.
There you go.
This is an official car, and it says Kennedy slain on Dallas Street, and it's got this woman sitting in the car.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay, Brian. That tells you that maybe possibly the Zapruder film was doctored.
It very well could have been.
Yeah.
Look at it. Look at that picture right there. Remember I was talking before? Jackie reaching over the Secret Service man? She supposedly had a piece of brain in her hand.
Wow.
I look at the expression on her face, and she's not upset or anything. She's not.
I noticed that. I remember watching the funeral. She did not cry. There is a lot of options. Remorse.
There's a lot of options when you look at that. I mean, one is she's also not a normal woman who's grown up in a normal life in a normal family. She's, you know, a rich woman.
Look at this picture.
She's grown up in
a picture right now. See that picture? Look at it. See that picture right there?
Yeah.
You see the middle of the seat there? What is going on right there?
I asked. Now we were in an elevator. I was in an elevator, and there were 4 people in the elevator besides myself. I asked everybody there how many people were in the Kennedy car, and each one of them told me 4. Something is going on with this.
Something's going on with this picture. Either this picture was doctored, and why is it showing in the museum? It's a 4-seater.
Really? Okay, wait, guys. Teresa said she spoke to someone who was actually there.
I was at a Goodwill. I was at a Goodwill a couple weeks back.
I want to know.
And there was a lady in her late 70s, 80s, and I was asking because I was looking for Kennedy books, and I was like going crazy trying to find books at the Goodwill. And she said, she goes, "I can tell you what happened." And I said,
"Oh my God."
I said, "Can you tell me first how many people were in the car?" And she said 4. That would have been 4. She said, "I was."
Okay, so here is a first-hand account. Somebody that was there that Teresa just told us.
She was there. She was like at least in her 80s, 70s or 80s. So how long she was then? Because see, I was born in '63, and I was born actually, which is even weirder. I was born November 12th, 1963, and 10 days after I was born, Kennedy was assassinated. That's how I know it so well. Because I remember the date, November 22nd, 1963. I was born November 12th, 1963. So this woman
can I bring up? Go ahead. Yeah, wow, look at that picture.
In her early 20s, because if I'm 54, she had at least be in her 20s. But she said she was there. I wish I could have interviewed her. She was just busy looking around, and she told me there were 4 people. She's been every 6.
Dad.
She was, and I showed her the picture, and she looked like she had this shocking look on her face, like no, that's wrong.
Yeah.
I want to ask you guys. I want to ask you guys. Thanks, Teresa. I appreciate that. Sharon, thank you for sharing that.
Out too.
I know this would freak me out too, especially if you're there.
Freaking me out.
See, I want to know. I want to know: is there a connection possibly with the Johnson family? Because why is it Andrew Johnson became president?
There's a documentary. I wish I could find it. It's on YouTube. There's a documentary on YouTube.
Both times Johnson
was linked to the Kennedy killing. And it turns out there was somebody on George Norrie's show, Coast to Coast, last year, claimed LBJ was involved in it. He was behind it. He might have financed, along with the CIA. He might have been in cahoots with the CIA to have him killed. Yeah.
I'm just reading that right now.
Are you serious?
Somebody said LBJ killed JFK.
Oh, and look.
I'm reading that right
now. Look. There, Brian, look, there it is.
Look at that.
Life
That's
magazine.
residue right there.
Life magazine. Life magazine posted a picture with 4 people in the cedar, and guess what?
Where at the Connollys?
That's
I know.
insane.
Where is the Connollys?
That's some serious residue right there.
This is synchronicity, like right now.
Well, that's because you and I read each other's minds a lot. I see.
Well, I have a question.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Melissa.
Go ahead.
Why would they want to say there's 6 people in the car now?
Okay.
Why the change? What is the reasoning behind it?
Why did they add 2 extra people?
Yeah.
Okay, because I believe that the Zapruder film was doctored. There's a possibility that film was doctored. Where were the Connollys in that car? Where were the Connollys?
The question is, why would they doctor it?
Yeah, it's.
Well, that's the thing going on. I just don't understand it. I mean, why would the Secret Service confiscate Zapruder's film? Why would it confiscate? Doctor it up.
Exactly. Why would they doctor it up?
Yeah, definitely.
Look at that residue.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
I've been there. I've been to that museum. I mean, my husband and I went to Dallas in.
That's insane. What is going on?
2010 and 2011. I've seen that creepy car. I've seen that creepy car. And those creepy.
This is insane.
Wait, what museum is this showing? Because I want to go there and ask the people.
Yeah, I want to know where it is.
This is a museum in the what was the book depository, which is the museum. It's the Kennedy Assassination Museum now. That building.
Texas.
Yeah, it's in Dallas, Texas.
Yeah.
The building where Oswald shot from is now fully a museum, and you can walk through that whole floor. They have the whole thing set up, how he supposedly had it set up where he did his shot from that window so that you can look down and see exactly how it was, with the boxes set up, how he had the gun perched on the boxes. They have all the maps, all video show it, the whole thing.
Yes. And Dad, didn't we watch that movie Parkwood recently? Tell us about that.
Well, like I said, the movie had all these stars. It was actually about Kennedy being admitted to the emergency. They try to save his life. And like I said, I forgot who the actor, Paul Giamatti played Abraham Zapruder. And when he took the pictures of the film, and right away the Secret Service came over and took his camera away. So, and also too, which is I found kind of disturbing. Kennedy had a disease called Addison's disease. It had something to do with his hormones or something like that.
Yeah.
And when he was in the emergency room, a doctor, a military doctor, was going to give the injection to save his life, and Kennedy was denied that shot because he had Addison's disease. And one more thing I want to bring up, which has not been talked about, and I don't know why the media covered up. Here it is. Before Kennedy was assassinated, 8 members of JFK's cabinet were flown out of the country. I think that it was including the Secretary of State and 7 members. And as soon as the word came out that he was assassinated, they were brought back into the country. Why?
That's weird. Why were they flown out?
Yes. Who ordered them to be flown out of the country? I'm talking JFK's cabinet. Something
that's weird.
On.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Those are the things. Yeah, those are red flags. It's like, all the on 9/11, all the top FBI people were away at a training seminar, so they could be nowhere near the World Trade Center. So they had all the shoddy FBI people available.
I would like everybody to do a big favor. Go to YouTube when you get a chance and check out the As It Happened, the CBS News bulletins, the NBC bulletins, and the ABC bulletins. Now there are radio bulletins that give 3 different stories. One story was they arrested a man and a woman Another broadcast said they arrested 8 people by the grassy knoll.
Oh, yeah.
And why was Oswald arrested? And they were let go. But Oswald wound up being arrested. Because, why? Because he supposedly killed a policeman, Officer Tippett. And he was captured in a theater. Like I said, something is going on.
Yeah, something definitely is going on.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Yeah.
Like it's like, this has been going on. I mean, I'm telling you, 8 years old. No, I was in the 8th grade when this happened. This thing that happened will never go away. That will never go away from my mind, what happened to Kennedy that day. Like I said, he was targeted by members of the conservative movement, but he was not a friend of the conservatives. He also was not a friend of the liberals. So, and then there was another thing too that they're not talking about. Kennedy had plans to withdraw troops from Vietnam.
Oh, of course he did.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, that's, I mean, he wanted out of Vietnam. He wanted that done.
Yeah, and then what happened? LBJ escalated the war. Terrible. Terrible. It's just that what I've seen over the years, and like I said, that moment in time, history, will never go away. It will never go away. It'll always stand
for
out.
Us, for us, Tom, it's the same thing. For us, it's 9/11. So
yes,
that's I was about I don't know how old I was, but I remember it happening. I was in San Diego, and it was just like crazy. It was like, what?
Yeah, I was at work when I heard about it happen. And I heard rumors go around that the military was on full, we're going to go to war. War with who? The building, then I heard the building came down. How did the building come down? I thought the building slanted over and fell over. But when I saw it where it just came down, how did that happen?
Right.
I mean, come on, 2 buildings? Crazy.
Right. Well, they've debated as to whether or not the collision of the airplane would actually cause the building to collapse.
Did you see where Bush Jr. was reading to a classroom a book, and the guy and the chief of staff comes over, told him about, and he had no emotion on his face.
Yeah, he whispers in George's ear.
Yeah, he just nods.
And Bush is just like, he just kind of is like blank stare.
Yep.
Yes, I saw that. I couldn't believe it.
It's almost like he knew.
He knew. That is not a face of shock. That is, and the fact that they didn't move him. I mean, if you have a country under attack and the president's sitting in an elementary school classroom and you don't know what the next attack site is, you move the president.
If I was George Bush, I'd be thinking, if he's in an elementary school, right? I'd be thinking like, oh crap, I should get out of here because they might fly a plane into the school.
What was he still doing there?
Right.
He should have been out of there. It took the second report about the tower being hit again, and then he makes a speech in front of the kids who don't know what's going on.
Yeah, he continues on.
He was involved with the Saudi family. Come on. He was connected to the Saudi family.
The whole thing's just, it's fishy, man.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing when I was growing up and when I was in school. I don't mean to go off the subject, but I had this fascination for the space program. And I remember when I was in school, classrooms used to go in the auditorium and watch the launches. Now, after all these years, the American people have been lied to about the manned space program. That's another thing. The government's been lying to us all this time.
Right.
Yeah, Kennedy assassination we've been lied to. 9/11 have been lied to.
Right.
Oklahoma City we've been lied to because it was also involved in the ATM were involved too.
Sandy Hook
ATM agents. Yeah, definitely. So something. I mean, we're in so much trouble here. We got these elitists running our country. It's really bad. Oh, my wife tonight just informed me. Yeah, Oh, one thing, I just quickly say something. My wife just informed me tonight that a White House chef that served under Clinton and Bush disappeared and he's found dead.
Really?
What is that about? Yes, yes. White House chef, main chef, served for the Bushes and the Clintons. Dead.
Wow.
Found his body.
Hey guys,
I wonder why.
I have something else here that Teresa has shared with me.
Yeah.
This is an interesting video on YouTube, John F. Kennedy murder investigated by History Channel. So check this little clip out. It's like they're sending signals to one another that something's about to happen to Kennedy. Watch this. I hope I don't get copyright.
Specifically.
No, people will talk about that. I don't think everybody's.
Hey guys, whose ever mic that is, could you please mute it for a sec?
Sorry, that's probably me. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Now, these orders were funneled from the assistant special agent in charge of the White House detail, who was the planner of the Texas trip, Floyd Warren, to one of his assistants, the shift leader by the name of Henry Roberts, who was in charge of the follow-up car. You can see an agent, Henry Ripka, doing his
right there. You see 6 people. Watch these people around the car. The Secret Service.
You can see Henry Roberts stand up and wave him back. You can see a very perplexed Agent Ripka waving his arms in the air several times in seeming disgust.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love Field, invoked by the Secret Service. The Dallas Police Department motorcycle outriders were told not to be beside the car. It went from 4 to 6 down to a measly 2 riders on each side. And to add insult to injury, they were pushed further
Look at
back.
that. Thank you, Teresa, for sharing that.
Those agents not being by the car, or those motorcycle officers not being in
Yep.
position.
And how about this? Secret Service agents had high alcohol level on them that day. Half of them were drunk. Yes.
They were drinking?
High alcohol. Yes. The night before.
And
the night before.
That,
oh my God! What in the world?
Oswald's trek, the trek he did from the location to the theater to his house, that whole trip that he did, me and my husband did that. And because the first year that we went there, we got, because I'd researched it before, but then once you go there and experience it, we got super into it. And I spent the next year like really researching it hardcore. I was super interested. So when we went back the next summer, because he would work there in the summer for about 6 weeks. And when we went back the next year, we did that trip to try to see how long it would take. And it was physically impossible unless you were like one of those crazy Olympic runners. There was no way he could have done it in the time that they set aside for him to make that route in that time frame. There was just no way. It was impossible.
Sorry, I didn't get to introduce. Shami is back with us from last night's show. Thank you for joining us, Shami. Welcome aboard.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
I wanted to add to this.
Okay.
So, did you guys watch that docu-series on Hulu about this? 12, like, it's the date, you know.
Oh, that was actually a story by Stephen King.
It was?
Mm-hmm. The one starring James Franco, that one?
Yeah, it was a docu. Yeah. They made it
sound
like it was a docu-series.
No, that was a story by Stephen King. Yeah, I read that book. I read the book. I haven't watched the movie, but that.
Oh, it's good.
It's
good. Yeah. But then,
it was a book.
But then they also.
What was that?
It's 12/26/63.
No, it's called. No, it's the date of the assassination.
Yeah, the date of the assassination. Yes, I'm sorry. I've been at the pool all day. So but they also had only 4 people in the car. You know, so like there was some sort of like truth there, right?
So where were the Connollys? Where were the Connollys?
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know.
He supposedly got shot. So he got shot. Where is he in the car? He got shot.
Do they mention the Connollys in that in that film at all?
I think so.
Which films? Parkland?
No, the one that
No.
she just mentioned,
Oh,
11,
oh,
11,
okay,
12,
It's
64.
it's a sm-
Yeah,
yeah, that's
yeah,
it.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
it. Sorry. But like they were whenever they were trying to explain everything, you know, and like go through the whole situation, there was only 4 people in the car. So did they get it wrong? You know, like
Well, that's what
they're
gets
trying.
me. They say that the Governor Connolly and his wife was in, but then there's no logic as to who was. Did they have Governor Connolly's wife driving? Like it makes no
Yeah,
sense.
exactly.
Makes
Yeah.
no sense. You
Yeah.
know,
I'm
that's where
sorry, I'm
the
late to the party.
That's where no, it's but it comes up every time there's that 4 people in the car. It's still Governor Connolly and his wife are still there, but that logic has never come through of, well, that must mean that Governor Connolly's wife was driving because he's always the one in
Yeah,
front
he's
of
always
the
on the right.
right,
Like
because
in the front.
he's part of that magic bullet. So
I don't know.
Yeah,
that
because
one
the
to
first
me.
shot that shot Kennedy supposedly
Right.
hit Connolly. That's
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of a weird topic to really dig into. It's kind of scary, you know, because you're like, oh wait, this makes sense.
It is.
And then you're like, oh, but that doesn't make sense. So
it's really weird.
It's one of those things that you're like, we're probably gonna never know. And we brought up JFK Jr. Or I heard you guys talking about it earlier. I was getting my kids to sleep, but so you know, his whole mysterious plane crash. You know, there's like so much that I've read up on that because I was like, oh my gosh, that happened. You know, and I don't know, when did that actually happen? It was like 99, right?
JFK?
That sounds
No, JFK Jr.
his son.
Yeah.
It was like 99. So like I was still young and like totally into like mainstream media, you know, of course. And I watched everything, you know, and it just did not all add up at all.
99.
So
it was 99.
Like, was it? Oh
yeah.
man.
July 16th, 99.
I didn't know the exact date or anything, but like
yeah, that one never sat well with me. It never sat well with me.
Yeah, and then like his uncle passed away like in that skiing accident. Like the Kennedys.
Yeah.
So do you think that they have? Well, they say that they have a curse. You know what I'm saying?
I never thought about that. Holy crap!
Well,
I never thought about that.
I've heard that.
I've heard that as well, and I wondered about that for a long time, and until I started really researching into the elite and the Illuminati and all that, and I just think that that it has more to do with that, you know. And there are so many people that get suicided and that die under mysterious circumstances. That
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Marilyn Monroe, you know, all of her connections. There's that picture of her with the flat Earth map, you know, and she was supposedly
I haven't seen that one.
She was supposedly going to talk about some things, and then all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, she's dead. So, you know, these things happen over and over again, and you know, we have to look at the connection, and that is the connection.
Yeah.
I
heard a wild rumor going around. I heard a wild rumor going around regarding JFK. This is, I don't know if this is off the wall, but I'm going to bring it up. It's crazy. Okay. The rumor going around that JFK never died. He was shot, and he lived, and he was a vegetable. Now, you ready for this? He supposedly was seen in a wheelchair, escorted on a plane to go to Greece, to a Greece island. Guess what the island was owned by? Aristotle Onassis. Who did Jackie marry? That's another crazy, you probably laugh. That's another crazy rumor going around that he never died until he probably, and it turns out Jackie married Aristotle Onassis to keep the secret. This was on a late night show I heard years ago, and
Well,
of course it was laughed at.
that's something that we hear about most of these
You hear a
people
bunch of stuff.
Right, about most of these people who die. And, you know, there may be truth to many of them. Who knows, you know?
You never know.
There's so many different things out there.
Yeah.
That
we
could,
Well, it's also about this Challenger explosion that happened years ago in '86.
Oh yeah.
Why would you send a spacecraft up into space from the launching pad 20 degrees out? I mean, and we don't know what happened if those people actually survived that explosion.
Well,
now I'm hearing the things about they've been seen someplace here or there. So, you know, there's like this whole thing was made up about the space program.
Well, there's a lot of evidence that it was made up and is still made up. And when it comes to that specific explosion and that group of people, I think it's more than half of them just happen to have identical twins.
Yes.
Come on, what are the chances of that? Really? You know, and the school teacher, Krista McAuliffe, you know, that she just happened to be using her middle name, you know, but now there's this woman who looks just like her, who's using her actual legal name. You know, I mean, come on. I happen to be a firm believer that the earth is flat. And that's based on, you know, research and more research. And I think that NASA I think that they are nothing but liars. And the space program is bull. You know.
How about this? Back in late 1969, I think it was, there was a motion picture, ready for this, called Marooned, about 3 astronauts stranded in orbit because it would not, the retro rockets wouldn't fire, right?
Right.
Well, it turns out that a rescue craft was sent up to rescue 2 of those astronauts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, in reality, NASA never had a rescue craft. So how if in reality, if there were really astronauts stranded in orbit, how would they be rescued? There was no rescue spacecraft back then.
Yeah.
So this whole thing is fictional.
Yeah, it's all fictional. It's all fiction.
Fiction. Fiction.
I mean, it only takes a small amount of critical thinking to look at the initial lunar module and that entire video footage to say, this looks like it might not be real.
Yeah, with the flag moving in space, like there was oxygen.
Oh yeah, that's. I mean, it's ridiculous.
On the moon.
And perspective, you know, our Earth would not be that size from the moon. You know, it's not the same. They're making it look like our moon from Earth. Our Earth should be gigantic from the moon.
Right. It would be massive.
Hey guys, I just looked up more stuff. I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to interrupt. But going back to the Abraham Lincoln and JFK stuff, I just opened a link about like what the similarities are. Have you guys seen?
Yeah, Brian sent me that link.
Yeah, like where it was, you know, 1846, 1946.
Yeah.
Like, you know, 1860, 1960, and the name Lincoln and Kennedy each have 7 letters. Well, I mean, some stuff is gonna be like, you know, random, but like some of the stuff is kind of like, oh man.
How about this? From 1840 till 1960, a president would die every 20 years, either from an assassination or from an illness. But it turns out, here it is right here. William Harrison died in the 1840s. 20 years later, Lincoln was assassinated. 20 years later, Garfield was assassinated. That was in the 1880s. 1900, McKinley was assassinated.
I did not
1920,
know.
yeah, 1920, Warren G. Harding died of a heart attack. 20 years later, in 1940s, FDR died in office. 20 years later, Kennedy is dead from an assassin bullet. But here's the thing I forgot to tell you. 1850, Zachary Taylor died in office from an illness. How about this? Ronald Reagan was shot, right? He survived the assassination.
Yeah.
Now, if he would have died, that would have been every 20 years.
Another 20 years.
Yes.
Dude.
Yes.
I did not know that.
Dude, he just ME'd me right now because in my reality, only Lincoln and Kennedy were the only presidents ever assassinated.
No,
Really?
no.
I knew that there was a
two others were assassinated. Lincoln, McKinley, and Garfield.
Yeah.
Well,
Garfield.
Let's guys, I hate to interject real quick, but let's talk about who the youngest president to be elected is and all that, because I know that's sort of different for a lot of people.
That's my thing. Any guesses here? Who was the youngest man to become president?
It'd be Obama now, right?
No.
I thought that was Kennedy, actually.
Yeah, until Obama. That's what I thought.
This is a trick question. Youngest man to become president. Theodore Roosevelt. Age 42, became president when McKinley was assassinated.
Right. It wasn't via election. It was via succession.
Kennedy,
trick question.
Kennedy was the youngest man to be elected at age 43.
Okay.
Now, going back to the 19th century, the youngest man to be president back then was Ulysses S. Grant at age 46. That was in the 1890s.
Oh.
Yeah. So that question is a trick question about the Kennedy Roosevelt. That's a trick question. A lot of people think it was Kennedy, but it was actually Theodore Roosevelt.
Well, I thought Obama was pretty young, so I was
Obama, late 40s.
Oh, okay.
Same thing with Clinton, late 40s. Yeah.
Wrong.
Obama looked really young when he got in, and then when he got out, he had a whole
bunch
of
terrible. He looks terrible.
I mean, he still looks good, but he didn't look like when he looked really youthful when he got in.
But they happens to all of them. Like I remember my mom pointing that out to me when I was it was around the first time I voted. She had pointed that out to me, and her saying like, "Oh, the stress of what they find out is so intense that it ages them." And I remember going, "Yeah, that's bullshit. I don't believe that that's why it happens or that's what's really happening." And I started paying attention, and if you watch, they start getting gray almost immediately if they're not already gray. There is something to that. There's something going on there, and I don't know what it is, so I can't possibly, give you an answer here. But there's something to that. The aging of our presidents once they take office.
That's a lot of weight on their shoulder, though. I think that's you know what I mean. Like,
you know what? But I've also seen people carry intense weight on their shoulder, and they don't age overnight like that. There's something to that. I honestly believe there's something more.
Yeah. When FDR died, he aged tremendously, FDR. He aged like 20. He looked like he aged 20 years when he died in 1945 compared to when he became president. Yeah. Because he was our four-term president, and that's no longer will be. So, according to the Constitution.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love hearing you talk because, you have so much knowledge. I was sitting here, I was waiting because I had a hard time getting on tonight. And I was listening to you talk, and you know so much. It's awesome. It's really, really awesome how much you know about, the presidents and, different times that I would not be able to bring stuff up like that.
Yeah. Well, let me explain why I have this thing for history. When I was 7 years old, my father packed us up all in the car to take a trip, and I asked my dad, "Where are we going? Where are we going?" we wound up going down to Washington, D.C. At age 7, when to see all these tall monuments, I mean, and I saw the rotunda of the Capitol, and I saw Washington's birthplace. And another thing, too, for Christmas, other than getting toys, my parents gave me books. Gave me books to read. One book was the Book of the Presidents, which back then was George Washington to Eisenhower, which was the late 50s. And then I got a book on the American Revolution and on the book of the Civil War. By the way, I have in my house right now, the copyright is 1962. I still have that book of the Civil War, put out by Golden Book. And for some reason, when I was at school, I didn't do well in math and in English. And my big thing was history. It just goes with me. It's the same thing. Me too. I have this fascination for trivial things like sports, arts and sciences. Sports is another great thing for me. Baseball is my favorite subject. I mean, I could talk hours about who was the greatest player, or who was, I mean, movies, I could tell you my favorite movies. I mean, I could go all night. It's just I have this thing, like I said, I'm not a Rhodes Scholar. I never went to college. I just have this fascination. It's just always stuck with me.
You don't have to go to college to know things.
Never went to college, and I don't know. It's just like fascination for it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I also had a fascination for the space program before, unfortunately, it turned out to be a hoax.
Well, yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I still follow a lot of stuff. Like, I'm super big into space and, like all that kind of stuff. So, I still have hope, I guess you would say.
But the sad thing is this, there's a lot of stuff going on in our classes today. I was talking to a waiter one night, and he told me, they're changing the history. I'm talking about revisionism, that like, when I was growing up, we talked about history. We talked about heroes, the founding fathers. Today, it's about the bad things that happened to our country.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's sad. I mean, these children today, they don't have a clue what's going on. They're not being taught history the right way.
Well, I teach my kids pretty well.
Yes.
My kids are very, like, if they have a question about something that's happened, or like, if they see a monument somewhere, or, like if we travel, because we travel a lot, due to different circumstances, and they get to see a lot of different things, and they're like, well, what is that? And sometimes I don't know, and guess what I do? I will look it up, and then I will tell them exactly, well, I don't say exactly what's going on, but then I'm like, oh wait, I remember this. I remember
going to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. And when I stood on that battlefield, chills went down my spine. This was the turning point of, chills went down my spine. Stand on a battlefield, which turned out to be the turning point of our history. It's just, what else is going to change?
So, like, that brings up, so Pearl Harbor. Do you remember having do you remember that whole thing in Oregon? Like them, whatever they did, they invaded Oregon or whatever they did. Like, did you remember that with Pearl Harbor on that day, or that whole, that?
Well, my father was fought in the Pacific during the war. He was with the Marines, and he had buddies.
My dad was a Marine too.
Who died in Pearl Harbor. My father did go to Pearl Harbor, what they call R&R. My father stayed behind, and some of his platoon were killed on the battleship Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
And that's traumatic. I mean, your buddies said you went to boot camp, and they all died. I mean, my father was over Iwo Jima.
Yeah.
It was a terrible battle. That was a horrible battle, and my father lost a lot of friends over there. I mean, and what was sad is the soldiers that came home from World War II suffering from post-traumatic stress.
Yes.
It turns out the Vietnam veterans got better treatment. They got better treatment than the soldiers that fought World War II. It's sad. It really is.
It is. I wasn't trying to go with like Debbie Downer with that one, but I was trying, like, did you remember that? Like, because whenever I remember learning about Pearl Harbor, which I like history a lot,
yes.
I didn't remember them attacking Oregon. You know, I was like, no.
Here's the thing, that was the greatest hit and run in history. All they did was attack the Hawaiian Islands. They had a chance to attack the main coastline of California, and they didn't do it. We were not prepared for war.
Yeah.
Another thing about the Japanese, the World War II did not begin in 1939 when supposedly Germany invaded Poland.
Yeah.
1931, Japan invaded Manchuria and committed the worst atrocities you can't even talk about. And it turns out when that happened, the World Watch did nothing. The United States was in the midst of a depression. Europe was on the verge of being taken over by the Nazi regime, and we couldn't do it. We couldn't do nothing.
Yeah.
Heard what the Japanese did to the millions of Chinese and to our POWs is horrendous. And they're compared to ISIS today. Those savages.
Yeah.
And talking about Pearl Harbor.
Yeah. Dad, I wanted to ask you how about the U.S.-based attacks in World War II. Do you remember like Alaska, and do you remember
that happened during World War II? That was actually the Aleutian Islands. That was during World War II. That was off the coast of Alaska.
Yeah,
that was actual battle. Yes.
Do you remember the Japanese bombings in like Texas and Oregon?
No.
One in Oregon killed like 6 people.
No. But another thing I need to bring up, the Japanese attacked a ship called the Panay. In 1937, the United States had a ship, gunboat, in China off of the Yangtze River, and it was hit by Japanese, and it turns out the Japanese apologized for the incident, and we were not at war yet with Japan. The Panay, USS Panay it was called. Yeah.
Connection with World War II and Smokey the Bear, or some people.
Oh gosh.
I
don't even want
fires on our mainland and around, I think, California. That started that whole thing. And if you actually go to their website, you can see pictures of cartoon Japanese people.
The way they wear, big teeth, slanty eyes, yeah. And look what happened to those Japanese Americans that were put into the internment camps that FDR ordered. Japanese Americans at the outbreak of World War II.
My grandpa was one of those Japanese internment camps.
There you go. Yep, there you go. There you go.
And it was horrible. It was horrible. He never spoke of the details of it, and he wouldn't. He went back there in his early 80s. He went there sort of, I don't know, some sort of cathartic making peace with his past mission. And I know that he went there, but he never spoke of it in his life, not to me anyway.
Oh. You remember the movie Karate Kid? Mm-hmm. Remember the Japanese guru, the guy that taught what is it? Ralph Macchio. He was possibly in one of those internment camps back in the 40s, and he talked about, he was drinking one night, and he was talking about his wife who died, and it's possibility in the movie fiction that he might have been in those internment camps. That's something I have to check into. I'm not sure. If you get a chance, maybe I'm wrong. Watch the movie Karate Kid, and you'll see the scene where he is drinking, and he started to cry. He started to talk about his wife. I think he might have been in one of those camps.
Right. I thought. Wow.
Japanese American. Yes.
I haven't seen that movie in a few years, but I've seen it numerous times.
Favorite.
Yeah, he has an emotional moment there. I thought he was just talking about like his wife. His wife died, right?
Or something
his wife and his son.
Dead wife.
His wife and his
Huh?
son both
Yeah,
died.
that's true.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Is he talking
Either-
about, like, you know, when we put all the Japanese in those camps back in, like, what? I don't know. We did that,
It
right?
was in the 40s.
Yeah.
It was the 40s, right
Well,
after Pearl Harbor. They were rounded up by FDR.
Yeah, isn't that what he was
FDR
talking
did
about?
that.
I always thought
Possibly.
that's what he was referring to.
Okay. My grandfather, who happened to be German American, was harassed and interrogated by the FBI during the World War II. Because my grandfather worked for the phone company in New York, and he was questioned by the FBI because his last name was German. They didn't have an internment camp for German Americans, but they were harassed. Anybody that was German American were also, because of possible espionage. So a lot of things are going on.
Right. There
There was a
wasn't
lot of
much
that.
to it.
There was a lot of that, rounding people up in fear of being spies.
Yeah. I'm telling you.
Well, you know, I
many
mean,
people-
they're laying the groundwork for taking away our civil liberties in exchange for protecting us, you know?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it was a
wonder
great time
about
to
these
do that.
Camps. Yeah. What about these FEMA camps?
Take this one
What is
down.
that about? What's that about?
Same thing.
What is that all about? They're going to round up everybody? What is that, a front? We don't know. I don't trust this government anymore.
They do not just
Yeah,
sheep
yeah,
to go
yeah.
along with everything. We belong to God. We don't belong to anyone else. Let me just go ahead and say there was another similarity. Presidents. I found this very interesting. And Dad, tell me if you a month before Lincoln was shot, he was in Monroe, Maryland. Kennedy was shot, he was with Marilyn Monroe.
Oh.
What is that?
Hey, how about this? We're talking about Lincoln. How about, here's some interesting facts about Lincoln. Lincoln was a wrestler. He was inducted into the Wrestling Hall of Fame. He fought 300 guys and lost only one bout. And he never lived in the Lincoln bedroom.
You said, Brian,
never
you said
slept in the Lincoln bedroom. No.
You said Lincoln was in Monroe, Maryland?
Yeah.
No joke.
Isn't that insane?
Oh, Monroe. Monroe, Maryland, Marilyn Monroe. Oh.
Right.
And here's another interesting connection with the Mandela effect. They say Marilyn Monroe's beauty mark moved.
Yeah. She said, yeah.
It moved.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Talking about Marilyn Monroe. Talking about Marilyn Monroe autopsy pictures. Take a look at the autopsy pictures of Marilyn Monroe when she died of an overdose. They showed her face was beaten to a pulp.
What?
Yes, the mob. Don't forget, Marilyn Monroe had affairs with supposedly JFK and RFK, and the mob went in and supposedly beat up Marilyn Monroe. Maybe Marilyn Monroe knew something was going to happen, and of course, the mob has been implicated with the assassination of Kennedy.
That could be lividity, though.
Yeah, I'm just saying. You know, it's a
no, I'm just I'm looking at her face. That could be lividity if she was on that side. If she was on that side, you know.
She knew something was going on. She wasn't
just
stupid.
Based on
woman.
the petechiae there, it could be lividity. But I have no doubt she was murdered. She was absolutely or suicided, however you want to call it. No doubt about it.
Her face was beaten to a pulp, broken nose, black eyes. Come on.
She has bruising on her shoulder as well, and the problem is the side of her face and the arm. See, it doesn't match up. It would be lividity if it were to all match up, and it doesn't. Yeah, you know what lividity is? Lividity, for anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, is if you die, say you die laying on your back, your blood will pool. It all pools there, and so it can look purplish So it could look like a bruise because all your blood will pool there on the bottom, you know, whichever part is laying on the ground, basically. And that's called lividity. So it could look like a bruise to the untrained eye, but it would all have to match up with how she was laying, and this does not. They're showing how she was found, and the bruises are face up.
Okay,
So.
here's another thing going on, Ray. I forgot to mention regarding what happened in Dallas, Texas that day. The grassy knoll. They found these guys hanging around by the grassy knoll. It turns out the guys were hanging around by the grassy knoll, and they were let go. Were the same people that broke into Watergate Hotel. They like that. And another theory going around that Richard Nixon was in Dallas, Texas that morning.
Yeah.
What is going on? What is going on? You see what I mean?
Yeah, I've heard that one too.
Yeah.
I've heard that one, yeah.
There's so many things going on with this assassination thing. There's fascination about it. Or I don't know if it's an obsession or just it's not been put to rest.
Hey Brian. I don't know if he's still there.
Yeah, hey, Gen X, I'm here, man.
Yeah, man, you said, I'm sorry, man, I don't mean to go off topic, but you said that Lincoln was in Monroe, Maryland. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe
Once it reversed the name, Marilyn Monroe.
Right. I'm trying to figure out because I live in Maryland and I've been all over the state. I've never heard of Monroe, Maryland.
See if you can find that.
And I live here.
See if you can find it on the map. Yeah. See if you can find it. Or look it up.
Like what? Where is
Monroe, Maryland?
I don't know. I live in Southern Maryland, and I've been all over the state. You know, I've been pretty much everywhere. I've never heard of Monroe, Maryland.
Yeah, I never heard that either.
Like what?
Check the atlas. See if there's such a place. Check the atlas.
I mean, if it existed, I would know because I love Maryland.
Let me see. I have the atlas in front of me. Hold on. Let me check. Maryland. I'm looking now.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I don't mean to.
That's okay. I'm going to find out now.
I'm trying to find it myself, too. If anyone in our audience can find it, let's see.
I'm looking now. Let's see. Maryland. Okay, I'm looking. Okay.
About Monroe, Maryland, that we're trying to settle here.
No. Guess what? There's a Montrose. No Monroe. Montrose.
Montrose. Right.
Montrose.
I've heard of Montrose, Maryland. Yes.
Yeah, Montrose. That's
right.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not Monroe.
It says a multiple
sounds like a joke.
Monroe, Maryland. That's weird.
Yeah. I thought maybe we were telling a joke or something.
Going to be like her in every way. I'm old with that.
I don't know.
Yeah, that struck me really weird because.
Yeah.
I know.
Okay, I'm sorry. Say it's the Highlands of Monroe, not actually a city of Monroe. It's called the Highlands of Monroe, I think, in Frederick County. Have you heard of
Frederick? Book away after
yeah, I've been to Frederick County. Yeah.
Montrose. Yeah, Montrose. That was
Frederick
close.
County is Western Maryland. It's in the mountains, dude.
Yeah. I thought you would tell a joke about Monroe, Maryland, Monroe.
I'm digging it up right now. I've got a map pulled up. It's
Oh yeah, I found it. There it is.
Yeah, that's near West Virginia.
Oh,
Frederick County is like near West Virginia.
Yeah, Frederick, Maryland.
Between Vermont and Frederick.
Yeah, it's the western part of the state.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. Because,
okay, so they may have gotten it wrong. It's a website. You can't like take everything 100.
Right. Well, the only reason I brought it up is because I live here, so I was like, I would know.
Yeah, you brought that up. There was one other thing, guys. Who shot Lincoln? Peter and Lee Harvey Oswald shot Kennedy in a car called the Ford Lincoln. Isn't that weird? Both assassins were known by their three names. 15 letters.
John
How about
Wilkes
that?
Booth and Lee Harvey Oswald. That's another similarity.
So both of them were shot by Southerners. Actually, yeah, by assassinated by Southerners.
Booth was an actor. He was a Shakespearean actor. So when he tried to escape from Ford Theater, he fell down and broke his leg, and he took off. Yeah, and federal troops found him in the barn, and they shot him dead. So
listen, both presidents were not only assassinated by Southerners, but both were succeeded by Southerners. I had no idea that either.
Yeah. Well, listen, guys, it's kind of getting late for me, and I think it's my signal to go to bed. So I just want to say goodbye, everybody, and I enjoyed being on your show. And Brian, you have a good night, okay?
And thanks to all of you out there who had prayed for us and bearing with us. And we had a little bit of technical difficulty at first getting people.
Yeah.
And I thank you,
Keep
Shammy.
Harold in your prayers too. Harold, his wife, his prayers. Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
Harold and his wife. They're going through a tough time right now.
Okay.
Thank you, Dad. Thank you,
okay,
everybody.
I gotta go. Have a good night now. Thank you.
Right.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Alice, tell people how they can get to your channel.
Sorry.
A little bit about what you do.
Sorry.
Was that to me, Brian?
Oh yeah. There's a
Sorry,
little
there's
bit
a
of
lot of
echo.
background noise.
I don't think my dad knows yet how to eject. So let me. I don't want to eject him and then he can't join later. So let me work through that.
Go ahead.
Tell us about what you do and tell us how people can get to your channel.
Okay, yeah, my channel is I talk about.
Sorry. It's okay. I do it. Okay.
That's really funny. Sorry. I talk about the Mandela effect as well as flat Earth. And my channel is Alice in Mandela Land, 3 separate words. Alice in Mandela Land. And that's how you can find me.
Yeah, I watched your videos, and you're like, you've had a lot of health problems.
Yeah, I do.
Like
I do
severe.
Yes. Bunch of rare, weird genetic stuff, and yeah.
When the body changed, you're like an expert because your body is pretty messed up.
Yeah. Yes,
so
I have. Yeah. Yeah, I'm still watching the anatomical changes, and every one that happens really blows my mind because I know the body so well, because I have to, because when you have rare stuff, you have to know your body really well.
Did you say like your shoulder dislocates or some shit like that? Or?
Yeah, my shoulders and my hips and my knees subluxate multiple times. My hips are the worst. I don't know, probably 20-30 times a day my hips pop out of the sockets. My shoulders.
Jesus Christ, dude, that's fucked up.
It is really, and it's horribly painful. My shoulders not as much, my knees a little more often, but yeah, it's part of.
How do you cope? Are you on opiates? Are you how do you deal with that?
I highly recommend medical marijuana to anyone who is trying to deal with chronic pain.
Enough said.
Well, people always ask how you deal with that, and I think it's kind of that thing of like you deal with it because you have to, because you don't get any other option but to deal with it, and you're seeing me on the other side of acceptance and all of the work I had to do to get to this point. All of the crying and all of that stuff that got me to a place of being really okay with everything. And I'm at the point now where I've pretty much given up on Western medicine. My husband is still trying, but I've given up. We just had an appointment the other day where they said there's nothing they can do about my hips, and I basically have to live with them as they are. And Sorry.
Yeah.
So,
So
you know, that's the kind of stuff that we deal with, you know. They're like, yeah, don't know what to tell you.
so the bong hits help, right?
Yeah, it helps. It does help a great deal. Yeah.
I don't blame you, man. If I
I'm
was in
lucky
your
to
boat,
live in a legal state. I'm very lucky to live in a legal state.
right? If I was in your boat, I'd be doing the same exact thing.
Yeah, there are
Trust me.
amazing medical benefits to cannabis.
Yes,
and
yes. Let me
Yes.
just go and say.
Yeah.
Can I interject real quick? Sorry, guys.
Go ahead.
I live in Georgia, and they just recently, I think it was in 2016, if I'm not mistaken, they legally made marijuana so you could have it for medical
Medically.
reasons.
Good.
Had that would have happened 2 years earlier, I probably would not have lost my eyesight
Yeah.
due to glaucoma. So
Yeah.
I'm just letting you guys know. I'm not a pothead or anything by no means. I've only, and I wouldn't say never. I've only had one time, but
Cannabis.
anything.
Oh, go ahead.
If something can help people out medically, they say it cures ADHD. It has so many benefits.
There is a lot of benefits. A lot.
You know, I think they're trying to keep it away from people because it opens their minds. I'm not endorsing it by any means, but it does have some medical benefits.
It opens their minds, and it also takes away from the big pharma. And big pharma doesn't want to lose any of the money that they're getting. You know, you tell them that there is a plant that you can grow in your own yard that can heal you of all these things, and you don't need to go to the doctor, and you don't need to take all these medications that will just require you to take more medications. Of course they don't want you to have it. Yeah. We should know by now they're not doing anything because they care about us. They don't do anything in our best interest. So
no, the Mandela effect is actually exposing a lot of this nonsense that's going on. The serpent, you know, is in every logo now, and you can totally see 100% that these guys are corrupt.
Yep.
I look at the FDA logo and it looks all messed up, kind of like the U.S. Postal Service with all the little weird triangle-shaped A's going on.
I didn't notice that.
So I believe.
I didn't notice that. You know what I noticed the other day though?
Oh my gosh.
The neighborhood watch is one eye. I noticed,
Bridget,
and I was like,
Savannah.
why would neighborhood watch have one eye? Like, why not have two eyes? I know why.
It's a big brother thing.
Yeah. Unfortunately, over here in Maryland, like we're gonna be the last state that legalizes pot. I'll tell you that right now.
That's unfortunate.
Like, it's not gonna happen over here.
Why is that?
We're heavily Democratic. So.
Yeah. Oh really? I would have thought.
Washington,
I would have thought they would support it.
That's the reason California became legal.
And then I moved to California, and like it's still somewhat like in the middle, you know, like a little bit, like it's still not easily like, you know, like it's not everywhere, you know, like you're not going to find whenever I lived in Washington, oh my gosh, you could go down the road and you would see the cross signs, and my kids would be like, look at the gas station, there's a cross. And I was like, yeah, that's the cross. Like they didn't understand, you know, but like they're
Which
everywhere.
part of California are you in? Are you in northern?
I am in the valley.
Central?
Yeah.
Valley? Oh yeah, that's why. Yeah, my mom, that's where I'm from, is the Central Valley.
Okay.
My mom lives in Turlock. And
I don't want to say where I am from.
No, I understand, you don't need to.
Stuff. Yeah.
Central Valley is enough. That says it all.
Yeah.
And they have fought so hard in that county to keep it out of storefronts. And so your only option there is delivery, which is absolutely absurd. Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. Ridiculous. Yeah.
I mean, and let's not even talk about the water.
Yeah. Oh God, don't get me started on the water. Don't get me started.
Whatever happened to the EPA? Why aren't they cracking down on some of this stuff? Did they just become weak? Did they become
because
like
Trump is actually trying to take away from, well, it's not, I'm not saying that like I'm for Trump or against. I'm just saying what I've been hearing on the radio. They're like, help the valley, please make sure that the EPA has enough money. That's really what is being said here in the Central Valley. Like, so you know Aaron Brockovich, right? That whole movie and everything is not that far from where I'm from. And we have a lot of farms and everything else. And it leaks into, you know, like our water source. So we don't have good water here. Like I buy alkaline water.
Yeah.
You know, like I spend the extra, like, well, I will never drink tap water. Like here.
Yeah, no.
Ever.
No way.
It's disgusting.
Yeah. No way.
Like the EPA is getting not as much funds. Someone might need to look this up. I'm not really sure exactly, but like from listening to the radio in the car, there's a radio, like at least every, like the radio stations always have something on there about the EPA and that we need to talk about getting the money back and yada yada yada. So I don't know.
Yeah, see, we don't have that problem on the East Coast. Our water is safe to drink. And I'm from San Diego. Like I'm from I grew up in San Diego, so I know what you're talking about.
Well,
but
I would drink San Diego water over this.
Oh, I'm glad I left California. Screw California, man. I don't ever want to go back.
I'm only here for.
I don't want to be here.
You know.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I left. I'd rather be in Maryland than California. I'll tell you that right now.
I miss the East Coast. I've had to live here on the East Coast or West Coast for almost 10 years. Well, yeah, almost 10 years because of jobs and everything else. And like I want to go back east. So, but that's probably never going to happen. But my husband and I were talking. We're like Alaska or Montana or, you know, like somewhere that has like more open country.
Just get the heck out of California, man. That's all I can say.
I know.
That place is screwed.
I'm so with you on that one. And my gut tells me that too.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, but my friend is always like, "Oh, San Diego's so awesome." I'm like, dude, I grew up there. No.
Actually, San Diego is awesome, but
I mean, it is, but you know, I'm just like, dude, nah, like, people they think that it's like it's all great, like, oh, it's so wonderful in California. Like, no, it's not, dude.
No, it's not. It's not.
Guys, if I could go ahead and close out with a few last words here. Hang on. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to play that video. It just automatically played. I apologize. I do want to talk about tomorrow. Teresa's starting to get blinky as well. Teresa, good night. Thank you for everything. Thank you.
Night, Teresa.
Night, Teresa.
Bye.
Teresa, God bless you. Hey, guys. I'll message you later, Teresa, okay? Thank you. It's all right. Told me about National Chicken Day, and I'm glad she, tomorrow, actually, coming up. Yeah, it's actually today. Yeah, the 20. Yeah, it's tomorrow for her. She's on West Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all time travelers right now in this chat.
Whenever you have local restaurant, like chicken places.
Yeah, she's talking about right now, guys.
I see he's doing chicken specials tomorrow. All different places.
I'm going to be hitting up the Chicken Shack.
Oh yeah, don't forget Kentucky Fried Chicken. A $5 zinger meal, fried chicken, a drink cookie, and an old-fashioned potato wedge. Giant Eagle for one day only on July 6th.
Oh, Giant Eagle. I missed that place.
Wing Zone. You have to check them out. Just go online, look for National Fried Chicken Day or something.
What'd you say, Teresa?
What'd you say, Teresa?
Yeah, just asking if anybody has Hooters anywhere. We have them here in Las Vegas. Hooters, wear the tiny little orange shorts And
okay.
Nope,
yeah,
not.
We don't got a Hooters.
Not. Whoa, wait, what?
History.
We do.
Well, I don't have a Hooters closed.
We do here in LA. Yeah, I don't go there though. I won't spend my money there.
I like to spend my money there because, like, I will eat the stuff out of wings.
Okay. I'm sorry about that. I need to retract that statement I made about KFC and some of these other places because
What time is KFC?
I was looking at the wrong date because that was July 6th, I believe. This is July 29th, okay, is going to be Buffalo Wild Wings. It's National Wing Day. Let me just be
I got
specific.
that one.
Wings, if anyone wants to hit that place up, I'm sure they're going to get slammed. I offer small orders of boneless wings plus a side of fries for $9.99.
What place is that, Brian?
Buffalo Wild Wings.
Oh yeah, we have one over here in town.
We have those there.
Yeah, they're known for their big TV screens all over the place. You could go there and watch all the football games with your buddies.
I like the garlic wings, the garlic parmesan.
Yeah, me too.
That's a good place to drink beer.
Love those garlic wings.
Yep, me too.
You can get some beer and some wings. You're good to go.
Awesome. Well, we may have to hit up Buffalo Wild Wings then tomorrow. Anyway, guys, it was nice having everybody on tonight. A great chat, by the way. If anyone wants to message me about any other Mandela effects or stuff to bring up during the next Hangout, looking for topics to talk about. Topics depend on whoever I'm bringing in the chat, too. I know all of you came the last minute. Thank you guys for coming on tonight once again.
No problem.
Thank all of you in the chat. God bless you guys. You guys and people like Teresa and Rena, who are the residue hunters out there, you guys are the backbone of the community. So I thank you guys as well. Peace out, everybody. Have a great night. God bless.
Night.
Night.
Good night.